Talking with the Experts.
Welcome to Talking with the Experts, where we believe that success is a journey, and every journey is easier with help from friends. That's why we bring you top-notch experts and real business heroes eager to share their lessons from the road to success. We delve into new topics each week: effective marketing strategies, innovative problem solving, financial planning, and team building. We tackle everything you need to know to grow your business and keep it thriving. Whether you dream about launching your first startup or are a business veteran looking to shake things up, we've got you covered. With each episode, you'll gain knowledge, boost your confidence, and be inspired to take action. So, grab a coffee, make yourself comfortable, and join our exciting journey. You're not alone in this. We're here, guiding you, cheering for you, and celebrating each milestone. Let's turn your business dreams into reality, starting today. Here is your host, Rose Davidson.
Talking with the Experts.
In episode 479, Tom Sharp discusses with us how we can unleash our inner leader to skyrocket our business.
And then for me, what really makes it work is that I'm then fired up to teach everything I learned to other people, like to make their life a little bit easier than mine, or like share the stuff that I learned that I should have learned in school. And it gives me so much pleasure to be able to do that and to see the effects in the relationship in like the lives of my clients. And so in that next company, I figured out how to lead a team, how to motivate people, how to make sure that I have the right people in my team, people that are probably not as much like me as I would normally hire. And so I wrote a book about that on delegation, and I moved to America like almost 2 years ago, and I'm now starting to share my ideas with a much more international audience in English. I used to work
Talking with the Experts.
Hello and welcome to Talking with the Experts. I'm your host, Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com. Talking with the Experts is all about business by business owners for business owners. You can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. Today, my guest is Tom Sharp, and Tom is a leadership coach who loves to talk about how to free up our time, how to build up team quality, and we're going to touch on a little bit about AI tonight, so that we're going to see what we can delve into and what we can get out of it. Tom, it's such a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Rose. So great to be with you today.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about how you arrived at your destination of where you are now.
Yeah, I feel that I'm a crazy guy. Or let me phrase it a little bit differently. I think that most people around me feel that I'm a crazy guy. So I could never really do well in school. I was always bored and not concentrated. And oh man, I have so many like weird stories that in hindsight, I think it was so obvious. I'm a high quick start person, which means that I love variety and I love to pioneer and to figure out new things, to explore new areas, especially in thinking. Yeah, the same like you. So that's like a typical entrepreneur profile. And I don't know about you, but I'm pretty frustrated still that all those decades further in my life that nobody in school really recognized that. They did recognize that I was kind of an outlier, but nobody kind of was able to help me understand who I am. So I got this feeling that I am lazy and I cannot concentrate, I cannot focus, I can never finish anything, which is completely untrue. When you realize, oh, I'm a pioneer type of guy and I am this quick start guy and I love to innovate. That's basically my story. But you recognize that with many entrepreneurs, I would think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I was always dedicated to school. I liked school until my last year of high school, but I was, I used to daydream a lot, and that was always written on my report card. Rose is a daydreamer. I was
Yes.
always thinking about where I could be somewhere else and do something better than sitting at my desk doing a maths lesson.
And it was not meant to be a compliment on your report card, right? It's like when they say you're a daydreamer, that's actually a really cool thing to do, right? To daydream about a better future, to figure out new plans, to wonder like, how could life be? How can we make this world better?
Yeah, my father didn't think it was a very good thing, though.
No.
Daydreaming was, not paying attention.
So in my mind, the whole school system is run by people who are not quick starts. And there are exceptions, of course, but most of these people enjoy the follow-through routine, like day in, day out. And that's perfectly fine, but it means that everybody who is not a follow-through person, it's like your teacher is a little bit of a mirror. And in my mind, it feels like my teachers were like the kind of mirrors that you see in a funhouse, where you kind of see your own reflection, but it's completely distorted. And that was my experience.
Yeah. No.
Fortunately, when I was in university a little bit later, I was at the same time I was working in a hospital. As a young guy, I picked up some computer programming and expanded a bit on that during my stint in the hospital. And I had the fortune of being sent to a train the trainer session for computer programmers. And in that session, that was like a 1-week session, a training course, somebody else remarked upon the fact that there were 2 people in the class that really understood that specific part of computer programming. And he mentioned my name. I didn't realize that at that time. I thought I was learning so much during that week. But that got me thinking. And in the street where I was living, in a small village, there was a guy and he had this sign outside for accounting services. And I made an appointment with him and I said, well, why don't you tell me, like, let's do a little calculations. What do I need to replace the income that I get from my work at the hospital? How much money should I make in training people to replace that income? So we made the calculation, and in the end, that became my first pretty successful business where we trained like many software developers. And that was I during my studies at the university, I started a small company with a friend of mine that led nowhere. That was actually my really first company. I learned a ton, made no money at all. And then the second one where I started to train software developers, that was really, I really enjoyed doing that. There is so much in being an entrepreneur that I really enjoy. And there's a lot that I really hate as well, but there's a lot that I thoroughly enjoy doing.
Yeah, it's a love-hate relationship, really, isn't it?
It gets better over time if you start to understand the things that you enjoy and the things that you hate, and then you try to hire people that enjoy doing the things that you personally loathe doing. And
yep.
But that was not in this company. I sold this company, a software developer company, and that was also where I figured out like I'm really bad at leading a professional team. I had done some leadership in scouting and in our church, and I think that I was doing pretty okay, leading in like a non-professional setting. But then in a business, I found that it was totally different. And of course, nobody ever taught me any leadership. I don't know if that's different in Australia, but I had never had any leadership training in school, which is weird in my mind as well, because this is like, how important is it to be able to lead or to understand how leaders work, even if you yourself are not leading? Yeah, it's insane.
The school systems around the world don't teach you life skills. They teach you stuff that you don't need.
Yeah.
Like, who cares if you don't know calculus or not, for heaven's sake, unless you're going to go into some, employment that uses calculus. For the mainstream of students, it's absolutely a useless skill.
You're so right. And then doing bookkeeping or taking care of money or making friends or how relationships work, or there's so many stuff.
That's heaps more important, I reckon.
Nobody teaches that, right?
No. No, absolutely they don't. No. Anyway,
No.
we'll stop bagging the education system. Maybe one day it will change.
Yeah, we'll need a little upgrade there, left and right. But I sold that company and I realized that I was not really doing well leading a team. However, I still started another company. That's where we started training people in time and stress management with the GTD system by David Allen. And that's where I realized I need to fix this for myself. That's basically a pattern in my life as well. I throw myself into the deep end. Then I realize I cannot swim. So I need to teach myself to swim or to figure out how
I'm
other people do this.
You just go and do it and figure out the details later. That's my thing.
Yeah, it's a very quick start thing as well. And then for me, what really makes it work is that I'm then fired up to teach everything I learned to other people, like to make their life a little bit easier than mine, or like share the stuff that I learned that I should have learned in school. And it gives me so much pleasure to be able to do that and to see the effects in the relationship in like the lives of my clients. And so in that next company, I figured out how to lead a team, how to motivate people, how to make sure that I have the right people in my team, people that are probably not as much like me as I would normally hire. And so I wrote a book about that on delegation. And I moved to America like almost 2 years ago. And I'm now starting to share my ideas with a much more international audience in English. I used to work in a small, tiny European country and had a blast. But this is going to be the next phase of my life, and I'm thoroughly enjoying that.
Absolutely. So the book Delegation, where is it? What's it called, and where can people find it?
It's called Shameless Delegation. But we are still in the process of translating it into English. So I'm sorry, but I cannot hand you that yet. I would love to do that, but it's still... The problem with the book is this one came out in 2015. That's 8 years ago. And in the meantime, I've learned a lot more about delegation. So I'm torn between, are we just going to translate this and delegate the translation, hand it over to a publisher, or publish it ourselves, and then it's useful? Or the other thing is like, do I really want to publish this same book again? Or with the like growth in ideas and mindset and principles, do I want to write a whole new book? And even telling you about this, I feel like I already know the answer. I need to write a new book, but I hate writing books.
Add to the old book.
Say that again?
Add to the old book, like get the book translated and then just add to it and say this is the new improved version.
Yeah, I think we need something like that. But I love talking and I hate writing. So it all comes back, in my mind, it all comes back to your personality. Like, who are you? What is your sweet spot? What do you really enjoy doing? And try to do more of that and add more value to the world. But I realized that writing a book is one of the best things you can do to share your ideas. So It's up there on the list.
Yeah, and I'm drafting a book on podcasting. It's
nice.
I'm just finalizing the details in it, and then I'm going to print it off and send it away and see what happens.
So have you published a book before?
I've been a co-author in a book.
Right. So what's the best process for you to write? What do you enjoy? Like, you being a quick start as well.
I like the end result.
Yep. I get it. Yes.
I like the end result. But I do like sharing my knowledge. It's just having to format it and do all that sort of stuff. It gets a bit tiresome after a while, but I
realize that for me as well. Like, writing the book is not so much as the problem, it's the editing that comes after. That's like totally draining my energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, how can we as business owners have more free time?
I think there's so many ways to do that. But the first thing to realize is that these are just very simple questions and also very deep and profound questions in a way. So I think that one of the mind shifts that we as entrepreneurs often need to make is to understand that what we are building or what we are making is not necessarily the end product or the service that we deliver to our clients. What real entrepreneurs are doing is they are building businesses, and the business is their product. And I feel that I myself am often tempted to think that the service or the product that we sell, that is my primary responsibility. While it starts working much, much better when you get a team of people around you. And then as the entrepreneur, you focus on building the team and you focus on building the business, and you have them focus on delivering the service or creating the product. And I know that not every business owner wants to grow their business. And in my mind, that's totally fine. I am even doubting myself if I'm an entrepreneur oftentimes. Like I've made my money since I was 19 or 20 running businesses. But there are some people, they really enjoy building larger teams and larger businesses. That's not necessarily me. I'm more of an innovator. I like sharing the ideas. I like working with these people and helping them overcome their issues, and then figure out how to share that with the rest of the world. But the first thing in my mind is to make sure that you understand that as an entrepreneur, your main task is not to create the product or to design the product or to manufacture the product or to deliver the service. Your first focus should be on building the business. So the second one is that once you understand that you need to build a business, that's your primary responsibility and nobody else is going to do it for you. Like if you slack off on building the business, it's not that the cleaning person that you hire is going to tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, Tom, I see that you're not doing a great job in building the business. Let me take over that part of the deal. That's it. Nobody is going to do that. So you need to do that. But then the second thing is to really understand where you yourself add the most value. And I like the principle of thinking about your work in that there's basically three kinds of work. And you've got nickel work and silver work and gold work. And nickel work is all the work that you can probably delegate or outsource for around $25 an hour. I would say that 25 to 50 maybe. I would say that silver work is a bit more expensive and you would probably need to pay $80, $90, $100 an hour. I'm trying to make the translation to Australian dollars, but that my mind doesn't have
no, don't worry about it.
But you get the concept, right? So the silver work is a bit more expensive. You need highly qualified people to outsource that kind of work. But if you can make the move from doing the simple project administration, simple team administration, simple email and answers, or answering your email, like there are simple emails that anybody could answer. If you can step up to the silver work, you start to be much more profitable as a person in the kind of work that you do. And then as an entrepreneur, you also have the gold work where we're talking about 250 or more dollars an hour. And there's a struggle for most entrepreneurs where they understand that they are spending their time on doing the silver work and it's bringing in cash, it's bringing in money. So it's like there's the it's hard for them to understand that there's different work they could be doing, gold work they could be doing, that could make even more money or add even more value over time. Mm. And so one of the things that I tell my clients to do is to calculate their number, which is where they take their yearly salary or anything they get from their business in money and divide it by the number of hours that they're working, and now they have their own number. And what we're going to do is to figure out is the kind of work that you're doing today, is that really the kind of work that you want to be doing today? So if you are doing the simple project administration because you have always done that kind of work and you don't have anybody else to delegate it to, so you're stuck doing this simple project management work, but your number is, I don't know, 75, and now you're doing work that you could outsource or delegate for $30 an hour. That makes no sense. And I feel that even making that like a simple calculation helps a lot of people to figure out, oh, I'm actually wasting my money. I'm throwing away my money. And more importantly, in my mind, you're doing the kind of work that really irritates you, that aggravates you, that you hate, but it drains your energy, which is what you should not want in a job. At least, like, the exceptions are fine. But
Mine's
normally,
bookkeeping. I just so dislike numbers. I'm not a numbers person.
right.
And so I just let it and leave it and leave it and leave it till the end of the financial year. And then I'm all in stressed out because I haven't done it.
Yep.
Then I know.
And so at the end of the year, you still have to do it yourself, right? That's what it is. Yes. So, for most people, I would say, like, why don't you try a virtual assistant? Somebody who enjoys
I'm
working
going
with
to,
numbers.
yeah, when it comes close to the end of the year, I'm going to look for a VA to do my bookwork, because I just dislike it. I mean, it's not me.
But even in not doing it, it kind of drains your energy, right? Even
it
when
does.
you talk about
I feel
it right
guilty
now.
because I haven't done it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, true. So once you figure out a kind of like the areas in your life where you're doing the work or not doing the work, and you can hand that over to other people, and the ideal business case of hiring a VA, a virtual assistant, in my mind, is that you can turn it into a small experiment instead of hiring a full-time person in your team. No, it's just like 2 hours a week, 4 hours a week. And we run an experiment, maybe 2 months, maybe 3. If after 2 weeks I find that you're not reliable enough as a VA, or that we have no connection at all, or it's just not going to work, then I can find somebody else. And maybe I need to test with 4 or 5 different people. And then suddenly it's like the magic combination. And oh man, I cannot tell you how many clients I've had, like entrepreneurs who felt such a weight lifted off their shoulders because they found out that all the work that they actually actively hate doing, somebody else could do it. And they did not have to feel guilty because the other person liked that kind of work. Mm-hmm. So that's what I meant with shameless. We need to delegate and be shameless about it. Not because we feel that we are better than the rest of the world, not at all, but because we don't need to feel any shame to take this bookkeeping work that we both of us hate and hand it off to somebody else who enjoys doing it. So instead of a chore on
that's my plan. That is my plan.
That's so beautiful.
That is my plan. And give someone else some money. You might need it. Now, we've talked a little bit about, we touched on it at the beginning about artificial intelligence, and I'm a great fan of ChatGPT. Love it, love it, love it. But how, as far as leadership teams and leading a team, how do you think it's going to impact it?
I'm actually, Rose, I'm still thinking about that. And I see that. So my vision for my life for the next couple of decades is I'd love to share my tips and tricks and ideas about leadership, especially with the younger generation. And the way I see it in my mind, there's no escape. They will have to work with AI, and it's gonna impact everything that we're doing in the office right now. And I feel that we do need to think about this. And experiment with it and play with it. And just like you enjoy working with ChatGPT, I do too. And I see that many people that are experimenting with ChatGPT, I call it Geppetto, by the way, because GPT, come on.
It's all right.
It's so we'll need to figure out the better names. But anyways, there's so much going on in the area of copywriting and of course image generation with Midjourney. But they did a test where they had GPT diagnose, I don't know, 100 medical cases. I'm not a fact finder, as you can see, so I don't know the numbers. But I know the conclusion. That's what I remember. The conclusion was that when they had artificial intelligence diagnose these patients and they had doctors diagnose these patients, that the AI actually did a little better than the doctors. But what caught my interest is that the way that the AI communicated with the patients was much more empathetic. That's not a word, right?
Empathetic is a word, yeah.
Empathetic, thank you. English is not my native language, so every once in a while
No
I'm
worries.
like, huh? Empathetic. So, but that's really interesting to my mind. So for the patient, the communication from the AI was friendlier, more human-like than the communication from the humans.
Wow.
That blew my mind. And I feel that we are going to see that in leadership as well. So if you break down leadership in all its separate components, we're talking about mission, vision. Like, what are we trying to achieve as a team? In my mind, leadership is as simple as bringing people together to reach a goal. Like it's like a sports team, basically. I feel that most businesses should not be like a family. I think the analogy of a sports team is much better. And the CEO of Netflix actually had some great points there. But so you need to have a mission vision. Where's the goal? What are we going to do? Then you need to figure out, who do I want in my team? How do I find and hire, select the right people? How do I keep them motivated? How do I help them to grow in their professional abilities, in their skill sets, in their personal communication abilities? Then how do I delegate? How do we set priorities together? How do we figure out what we're going to do today? There's so much going on there. But a lot of it is basic thinking and communication. And I believe that within a year, maybe two, we will see that artificial intelligence will take away a lot of these communication struggles from us. Mm-hmm. Like, part of what I teach people is how to delegate stuff in a way that you actually get the results that you want and you get them on time. And a lot of that is communication.
Mm. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? And that can take a lot of time. And if AI can be more empathetic and more friendly, but also tireless in reminding people or just checking in with them. Like I hired a VA. I had my own team. Like, people were working on my team full time. I had a brand new product that was really important for us. So setting up the product was a project, and I hired a VA to do nothing else than project management, or do the project management of that project. And then every time somebody had an important deadline, to phone them the next morning and say, hey Eve, I was checking the project and you had this deadline yesterday, just checking in to see if you made it. But AI could do that, right? Mm-hmm. And there's so many things that we need to think about, like what's really human about this. Well, the communication probably is not our distinctive thing, because if ChatGPT is writing our emails or our copy or communicating with patients, that may not be the thing that we are doing. So what are we doing? Well, we are doing the thinking, the planning, the dreaming. The daydreaming actually becomes really, really, really important in this time, I guess. Yeah. So I have no definitive answers, but I'm writing about this. I'm thinking about this. I'm enjoying talking about this. I'm actually right now wondering if you have any insights, Rose, on this. What do you feel? Like, you've played with ChatGPT. What do you feel? How is that going to impact your life as a leader?
I think it's going to help me in ways that you're right about communication. It will help me to use words that I would not normally think of.
Yes.
And in a way that I wouldn't normally think of. So it will help
Mhm.
me in that way. It will help me be a better communicator. I gave it, I've been redoing someone's website and their words, were okay, but I just shoved them into ChatGPT and it came up with a beautifully written, bit of prose. And I thought, oh my God, I would never have thought to write it in such a feeling way. I mean, I gave it the instructions. I said, everything that I give you has to be written in this way. And it's just remembered that one instruction and everything that I just put in there. I didn't have to rewrite this in whatever. I just gave her that one instruction that everything that follows has to be written in this way. And it has
Yes.
done it. And it's an amazing, and it's used words and structured in such a way that I wouldn't have thought to have
Yes.
structured it. And I've run it through Grammarly, and Grammarly hasn't found anything wrong with it. So
It's interesting, right?
yeah.
So I feel that many people are thinking that this is so surprising how powerful GPT has become in, like, it's a couple of weeks basically that we're talking about, maybe 2 or 3 months. And suddenly our eyes are open, like, wow. But we have a ton of robots already that we're interacting with. I remember that as a child, I had this little booklet, and I had to go on my bicycle to the bank to deposit some money and actually hand it over to a physical person. And that person would write the new balance in the book and put a stamp next to it. Or if you wanted to withdraw money from the bank, there is the same person, the bank teller, who is handing it out to you. That's just completely automated. An ATM is basically a robot in my mind.
Yeah.
So
the world has just gone, it's just grown so much in the last couple of years, honestly. I think since lockdown, the world has just changed, and people have realized that there are they've had time to sit around and do stuff and think about stuff and how they can make everyone's life a hell of a lot better, where they were always so busy and just didn't have that time. But I think, we have a lot to thank COVID for in innovating our lives in such a short time.
I actually think that online meeting is one of the best things for me personally that came out of COVID. We already did that a lot, but suddenly everybody understands how this works, and it makes my life so much easier than having to go everywhere. Would you mind me sharing?
I would love to continue talking with you. Honestly, I could talk to you all night, but our listeners would love to know how they can work with you, Tom.
Well, I have this website. It's called buildcoolthings.blog. And that's where I share all my tips and ideas and tricks. And everything that I'm making for my paying clients, I'm publishing there as well at Build Cool Things. And I work with entrepreneurs. So we do high-level coaching where we focus on freeing up time. And we have a ton of tips and tricks and ideas, but basically what we do is first figure out, like, why are you lacking time, and let's tackle that, because that's different for everybody, especially with entrepreneurs. Every entrepreneur is different, every business is different. So we first analyze that, like, where is the current problem in your life, in your business, and let's tackle that, and that gives you the quickest results, which is what I like.
Yeah, me too. I don't like long drawn out things. I'm doing an online 5-day or 7-day masterclass at the moment. I just wish hurry up and get it over and done with, and it was already 7 days finished.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, some things take time, but they're really valuable. And I like it when we free up people to become more quick start.
Yeah, I just have to be I'm more patient. It's my problem. I have no patience. Anyway, Tom, it's been an absolute pleasure. I have enjoyed our conversation immensely, and I look forward to talking to you again sometime into the future.
Thanks for having me, Rose, and thanks for our interesting conversation. And let's keep in touch to see how AI is going to change our world.
Absolutely. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Rose Davidson from Talking with the Experts. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Global Glamping Charities for their valued support. Global Glamping Charities, solving homelessness in all its forms. Reach out to them at globalglamping.org.
You've been listening to Talking with the Experts, hosted by Rose Davidson. Make sure you have a look at our back catalogue over at talkingwiththeexperts.com. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on any episode. We look forward to your company next time. Talking with the Experts.